I was the creep in Omegle. Omegle is infamously famous for horny male population who can't get a life. I never have went on Omegle previously. Last week my friends had a conversation about people showing their private parts on Omegle without consent because they're just horny. Not just that, they even said their experiences of talking with interesting people having same interests such as music or dance etc. So then I decided to go on Omegle. I had wonderful conversations with many people including female population. Earlier today, I encountered a female with really sexy voice and tried to have a conversation in a laid-back posture that in fact turned me on, but I did not initiate any sex talk. She then proceeded to slide her shorts and undies off. That made me the creep to be allowing her to do that and myself replying to her questions that how big I was. I am embarrassed at myself for being this person and I'm sorry to God and everyone out there for this. I am very scared that this can be potentially be uploaded on YouTube or something by her to draw me. And even if it does, I know what I had done, so I should be ready to pay for the consequences. Thank you for seeing my rant. Is older better? So this is me. Divorced dad, late 40s. I love my kids with all my heart, but now that I'm free I'm having to start all over again. While this initially felt onerous, I feel these are possibly becoming my best years. Having lost 12 kilos and put on a ton of muscle, I'm finally feeling confident. I've fallen in love with kissing, an ancient art form lost, imagination and conversation. I'm starting to re-love my body and recently cut appendage. Not to mention cooking, wine and travel. Is there life still to be lived? Yes, I'm seeking validation, but does anyone else feel their best days are still ahead? I sold lingerie photos to my old boss to help us pay rent. My husband, 29M, and I, 23F, had been dead broke for 3 months. I lost my job a few months ago and he's been unemployed for 4 weeks. We were living with his mom for a while but that didn't work out and we ended up moving out on our own. I thought we had plenty of money but I was wrong. We ran out of cash and have been getting by on fumes for so long it hurts. I reached out to this place I used to wait tables at, basically begging for work. They said they weren't hiring and I got a little emotional, but that was that. I got a call later that night from my old boss. He said he wished he could hire me back but it just wasn't possible. I told him about our financial situation and how bad things were. We chatted back and forth for a few hours. He mentioned that he knew some ways to do online modeling if I was interested in that. I wasn't interested, but really, the money situation was so bad. Eventually he offered to pay me for some pictures just to get my confidence up, so I took some selfies and whatnot and he sent me like $10 for each one and it was pretty innocent and goofy to be honest. I made like $50 and used that for groceries and didn't tell my husband anything because I was just embarrassed. I didn't really think it was wrong, just embarrassing. The next day he hit me up again and offered me more money if I would pose in my underwear. I knew this was something that my husband would not be cool with and I told him and declined. He told me he would pay more for those kinds of pictures but I still said no. Then he said he would pay $100 a picture up to $1,000. I thought he was fucking with me but then he sent me a $100 and I ended up making $1,300 in like an hour. I feel terrible. I don't even know how to explain where the money came from to my husband. I regret doing it but it is more money than I have made in months, and we need money. Can you forgive me? I did something bad at a Popeyes. I was at a Popeyes restaurant for the first time, Louisiana-style chicken, very similar place to a KFC. My order was 3 chicken tenders, with chips and a vanilla milkshake. This was a relatively affordable little meal. Much of the menu was pretty steep but I wanted to try the place. So I choose the option for eat in and enter the number 68 as my table number, which is displayed on a big piece of plastic you take to the table. A guy comes over and puts down a tray. I say thank you. I perplexingly have an empty cup and the facilities are only for soft drink self-fills. I ask the guy if you fill your own milkshake here. He asks if I ordered a milkshake. I said yeah, I can show you the receipt if you like. He says he'll get me a milkshake. So he comes back with my vanilla milkshake. He doesn't take the empty cup away so I help myself to a free chilled cup of Dr. Pepper from the machine. Now I'm back at my table opening the food. Turns out there are 5 tenders rather than 3, considerably more expensive, and moreover the fries are Cajun rather than regular, a £1 additional cost, and there is a mash and Cajun gravy additional item that I hadn't ordered at all. I felt overcome with excitement because what I had here probably amounted to double the cost of what I had paid. While I tucked into my excess amount of food I began some detective work to solve the case. I could see my tray had a sticker upon it with order number 86 written on and the food items on my tray. I understood what had happened. I had been given the wrong order. But then the plot thickens. I look to my left and see a teenager with a friend waiting on his food and are perplexed at what he had gotten. That table is table 86. As I said at the top, my table was 68. I smirked to myself sheepishly while being delighted by the mashed gravy I had not ordered. The guy had taken the piece of plastic away from my table so I thought that would delay detection. It occurs to me I ought to leave because it would be awkward to be confronted eating this order. Adrenaline fills my body, but I cannot stop sitting there eating my extra chicken tenders like the cat who caught the canary. A minute passes, but it weighs heavy. I start to analyze my tray for how I could carry all the items to vanish undetected into the night. I wolf down what I can and stack items together into packets with urgency. As I make my preparations, I look behind my shoulder. The teen boy and the server are conversing over the receipt in hand. That's when I bolt. It's the last moment to escape without an explanation for my actions. I nest at a nearby bench, my hands still awash with chicken grease. I proceed to eat my chicken and Cajun fries and mashed gravy and wash down with my never-ordered Dr. Pepper. I feel bloated, but satisfied. I discard my wrappers. The receipt has a QR code where everyone is a winner. I scan and win a free chicken sandwich to the value of £5.99. This topped off the joy of my criminal enterprise. I left the area with a confused server and a distraught young teen with my full belly and smug satisfaction. This place was relatively expensive and I just enjoyed a hearty meal there. What happened was a mix-up of table 68 and 86. Not only was it foolish to have reverse numbers like that, but the restaurant didn't even have nearly that many tables. I thought to myself that by exposing this shortcoming I was in fact acting in something of a business consultant capacity. Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. Are DNA tests like 23andMe that accurate? Because my dad is only showing up as a 17% DNA match? Okay, I am very confused. I think maybe my mom cheated on my dad? I recently got one of those 23andMe DNA kits for me and my brother, as well as my dad. My mom was extremely against the idea, and now I guess I know why? Unless they're not accurate? I don't know. My dad shows up as a 47.6% match to my brother, which confuses me also because shouldn't it be 50% for a parent-child match, which makes me think that maybe the tests aren't that accurate or something. My mom is saying that the test must be wrong, but I am only showing up as a 17% match to my dad, and a 27.5% match to my brother. Is the test possibly confused because my maternal grandparents were full siblings and my dad is biologically my mom's uncle? I am almost 27 years old now, so I don't understand why my mom is still keeping this secret from me if it's true that my dad isn't my biological dad. I just want to know the truth.